Tagged had taken her sword to sharpen, though it had not needed much to put an edge back on it, for it had returned from Muir as if the Sai had been responsible for its polishing. Fergus had been packed off to collect food for them all, as they are in silence sitting in the straw of the warm stables, save the quiet humping of the horses, and though Osrith hoped it wasn't the case, it seemed like there was extra meat than usual on her platter. Danes, Domhnall had said, confirming the ministerial letters, 2 brothers Eric and Siegfried, had incurred into Strathclyde. Poor inhabitants had fled and set up primitive traps. It had not slowed down the brothers, and they had incurred into Glashk and across to Stirling, raiding as they went. Eochaid has done nothing to check this, Domhnall told his men. We will win support if we can repel these Danes. Now is the best time to attack, though winter rush upon us. They will never expect us to be upon them after Samhain. Later, once ale had been drunk and the men had listed off to sleep, Domhnall took Osrith aside, to the outbuilding where he sometimes slept, so they were quite alone. You may stay, Osrith, Domhnall said, raising an arm as if to clap her on the shoulder, but then stopped, as if conscious of his sickle touch. Muir has a place for you here. Osrith's eyes widened. Oh, no, my lord, she protested. I would return to Alba. I would be at your side. Have I shamed you such that you do not want me? And, she could only gain wealth to get to Wessex by sharing silver as spoils of war, preferably that of the Danish brothers. Shamed? Domhnall echoed. You have not shamed me. Dear girl, you have borne this braver than any man I know. He looked into her eyes, as she turned away, and Hever raised his hand to tilt her chin back for him to look at her. I would see you safe. I will never marry, Osrith protested. Definitely. Osrith, I want you by my side. You are an outstanding warrior, far better than many men. But, there are dangers in Alba. How can there be dangers with you as my king? Osrith asked, quietly. She felt her heart sink. He was trying to release her from his service, of that she was sure. Domhnall was noble, valiant and, above all, monstrously ambitious. He would not chance his position as king, and she had shown, through her sex, that she was more liability to him than an asset. Then, he did something she did not expect. Raising her left arm, he drew his palm to his mouth, pressing his lips to it. Then, just as suddenly, Domhnall stepped away, dropping her hand as if it were ice. Osrith stepped towards him, kissing him on the mouth. He pushed her away, hands on her shoulders. She would beg, if necessary. Domhnall took her hands. Osrith, I would show you the greatest love that a man would give to you, and I am showing it. You are a child still. Choose a husband from the warriors and I will arrange it. Choose Domhnall. Now he has decided to renounce his father's throne and come with us. Osrith shuddered. Domhnall as a husband? He was more disagreeable than Constantine. Even if he had rescued her, she didn't wholly trust him. Lord King Dash. It can never be, Osrith. He looked away, as if his will was different than his words. I take a wife back with me. If you marry me, you could continue to be with Ira, Osrith suggested. Quietly. She had been about to say Finola and her mind wandered where he was. Now he had escaped and was free, and she hoped, maybe their warrior, her best friend, had made his way back to Alba to wait for Domhnall. Please do not let him be a wandering spirit tonight, she added, silently. And I could continue to be a soldier. And what about a dynasty? Children? Asked Domhnall. We could have children, she insisted. But Domhnall pushed her away. You are nothing, no one. I am, Edra of Bibbenberg, Osrith he was about to say, and if they married, he could take the throne of Bibbenberg, and all lands to the Roman wall, as was his grandfather's ambition. But, before she could say anything, Domhnall put a hand to her mouth. When she had fallen silent, he dropped it. I love you, Domhnall MacCauston, Osrith declared. Not the love of a man and a woman, but the love of a warrior and lord. She knelt, on both knees, on the straw in the dim lantern light. Domhnall knelt too. You are. He took her hair in his hand. It was growing back. You could be content with one of my men if not Domhnall. Fergus, tagged. Osrith closed her eyes, as they knelt together, picturing both. Fergus, strong and broad, a thick head of hair, dark russet red, stoic, reliable, trustworthy, tagged, tall, fair-haired and strong, like a branch of willow, soulful, strung with faith and belief. They had enacted a hand-fast at Tara. After all, I just want to be your warrior, Lord. I will fight, Lord Domhnall. You will fight, he confirmed. I need the best around me this day. And then he took Osrith in his arms, kissing her deeply, before leaning past her face, whispering in her ear, "You would be in great danger if I were to take you for a wife, no matter who you were." And, a noise outside, rattling, banging. The candles guttered in the lanterns and went out. The sigh. It was Samhain, after all, Osrith knew. She got to her feet, hand on her sword. Domhnall put his hand on hers, to stay her unsheathing of it. "Stay still. Stay here," he instructed, striding to the door, which banged open just before he reached it. The noises hammered through the stables, like horses, huge horses, galloping, followed by a noise, like a keening, the sound the Irian women made when King was buried. At Ardmarka, Osrith stood, listening as the stables were ransacked, hammerings and bangs, a widdant keening. "What was it?" "They seek someone," Domhnall said, striding over to her. "The UNA tilde copyright ill." The sigh. "Why?" "Though Osrith, whether it is the UNA tilde copyright ill or the sigh, they will not find us. And tomorrow, we go back to Alba, to fight for my throne," Domhnall explained. "But, if it is not the sigh," Osrith protested. Then she crumpled. The horror of what she had suffered, discrete images, swam in pieces through her mind. "The door is barred," Domhnall said, pulling her close to him. Osrith could feel his heart beating through his jerkin. "We'll remain awake." "Nothing can get to you if I am here, Osrith Lackland." He sat down in the straw, leaning back against the stall, grey eyes like his father willing her to sit by him. Behind them, a mare snorted in her sleep at the movement of the oak panels as Domhnall raised his arm, inviting her close. That night Osrith slept in the arms of a king. In the morning, before the sun had risen, she was riding next to on the shore of the Foyle, where once she hunted squid for their ink and pagans for potions. It was not yet dawn. Boats, pre-arranged to take advantage of the high tide of the loch, were rowing in, their hazy outlines picked by the pre-dawn light. They passed the rock next to where she had been tied by 9 fingers, around which the coracles were piloting. Osrith could feel her chest swelling with brine as the waters engulfed her, and she relived again the cold panic of helplessness, and death approaching with every incoming wave. It was only when Constantine took her bridle, that she was aware their journey was over, and she was gripping the reins tightly. She was shaking and, reluctantly, allowed the prince to help her down. 6 boarded 2 coracles belonging to the monks of Ratlin, Osrith and Constantine with tagged in one, Domhnall and Fergus in another. Should one boat sink, the other held a man who could be king. Osrith held the side of the boat, fighting visions of her drowning as they began their risky journey across the northern sea and to Iona, where Domhnall, with his cousins Constantine and the dispossessed Domhnall by his side, would fight to regain the throne of his family, Aetildilpin.